Sharks fans! My name is Jacob Boyd, and I'm here to present to you guys today day one of development camp with Macklin Celebrini. All right, Sharks fans. So we just wrapped up day one of development camp with the San Jose Sharks. I was there to, witness everything that it had to offer, and I stayed from, the first man on the ice to the last man leaving the rink. So I have a lot of takes for today, and I think it's going to be a good one. But I wanted to kind of, start off with who was there. Obviously, all the development camp people were there, obviously including Macklin Celebrini. So that was really fun to see. But what was really a cool, something cool to see was, Jumbo Joe was out there dishing pucks to the players. That was a really fun sight to see. And then obviously Patrick Marleau, he was also out there kind of giving instruction. Obviously Mike Ricci's kind of like a staple of giving instruction. Nabby was really working with the goalies, all four of them for that matter. And, really, staying even after practice and showing these goalies, how to be a pro and really working on the movements from side to side is what I really they were emphasizing, and that was a cool sight to see. And so that was a big standout with all those former Sharks being there. I really think that Mike Greer has given the keys to the car to, Joe Thornton and said, hey, be on the ice with these young kids and show the way. And I think it's a really cool sight to see. And I'm sure that Macklin and all these young guys are taking anything that these coaches / good vibes are bringing. So one last thing to mention on that news was, you noticed when Jumbo showed up to the rink, man, that guy is full of energy. He brings it, and it just seems like himself. And I love that about Jumbo. I love that when he was a player, and he hasn't changed as somebody. He's not really a coach, but this player development role for him looks right up his alley, and I think these kids are going to learn a lot from him. So love to see it. But kind of getting right into dev camp, they split it. It wasn't three different teams. It was just two, which was Team Teal and Team White. Team Black hadn't been inputted yet. They just kind of split two groups, and they had about an hour and an hour and a half of work between the two. And so that was interesting to see for the first day, but I'm sure they'll kind of break them up a little bit more moving forward. But I think it was just easier for them to work with a big group for day one. But I wanted to kind of, share with you guys today, who was out there, what these players have done in the past for their respective teams, and give you guys an update on their, what they did in terms of what they did in today's practice and how they fared. So we're going to go ahead and start with Team White. Team White they had Casper Halt. Let me go ahead. This gives all the stats. I'm kind of just gonna bypass that and give you guys, what they did today. I think that's gonna be more beneficial for you viewers. So let's go ahead. Let's go present, share screen. All right. Technical difficulties, but anyways, Team White was Casper Holtonen, Philip Beestead, Igor Chernishev, Joey Maldoni, Colin Graff, David Cleat, Mitchell Russell, Macklin Celebrini, Gavin O'Connell, Donovan Villanueva, Hall, Lucas Van Broys, and then on defense they had Luca Cagnoni, Michael Fisher, Axel Landon, Eric Polkamp, Leo Salim Wallenius, Braden Haish, Nate Miskey, Magnus Krona, and Georgi Romanov. So Team White was actually the second portion of practice because Macklin came out. I'm sure that they kind of held that one so that everybody can kind of see him for anybody that was arriving late. But that was the second group. They had about an hour and a half of ice time, which was quite a bit. And we saw some really good stuff. So I'm going to start with Casper Holtonen. He actually had whenever they were doing their drills, they had kind of a partner with them. And it was mainly Macklin Celebrini and Casper Holtonen. And when I say it's a great sight to see, and this could be, future Teal, these two players stood out more than any other player out there. And obviously, as Sharks fans, you kind of see, or you kind of would note that Macklin Celebrini should be, standing out just because he was the number one overall pick. But you never know. Anyways, it was clearly Macklin Celebrini had the moves, he had the passing ability, he has the shot. You notice him in tight areas. Even when they did board play, he was really scrappy. But his compete level is what blew me away. I never knew that compete level. If he lost the puck, he's right back at it, trying to be scrappy and get that puck right back. And most of the time he did. And that's what really impressed me the most, rather than just all the skill kind of stuff. That compete is none other. And I would say he was the top compete guy in the full scrimmage. And when I say scrimmage, the full practice. So that was really cool to see. Then you had obviously Casper Holtonen. I mean, the shot is undeniable. His size is incredible. He definitely looks bigger than most out there. And he really knows how to play along the boards. I think, London has done a great job in terms of, his board battle and board play. Obviously being in a lot of those tough battles in the playoffs for the London Knights and obviously the Memorial Cup, he had a lot of those battles. So he's just kind of even coming off. He's only had a few weeks, removed from that. And you can tell he was sharp, and obviously his shot was sharp and really just stood out. And so I'm glad Casper Holtonen is on our team. I think he could be a right wing first line player in my estimation. I was always saying, he might be a second to third line guy. I think this guy has a lot more to his game than just a shooter. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he has for the rest of camp. So next we have Philip Beestead. Philip Beestead was actually a beast. I thought, if it was Macklin and Casper Holton, and as the 1-2 combo at the top, leading the way. I thought Philip Beestead was right under them. I thought Beestead, did everything correctly in all the drills. I thought he looked stronger than last year. You could tell he put on some muscle in the off season, and I always thought his skating was a little clunky for being a big guy, but he looked quick out there. He looked agile even for gaining all that muscle, I feel like. And then I also felt like his shot was just powerful and heavy. And they did a lot of one-timer drills in today's practice. So, I just felt like his came off really strong. And he put the puck in the back of the net most of the time. So good on Beestead really putting in the work this off season, and I can't wait to see what he does for the Barracuda this coming season, because I think that's where he starts, and I'm excited to see him on with top line minutes. Next, we got the second round pick, number 33 overall, in Igor Chernyshov. I thought Chernyshov looked really good. The one blemish that I seen him at practice doing was his first touch was a little heavy. So when it touched his stick, it would kind of score it away from him. But when he gathered the puck and then was able to shoot, it wasn't the hardest shot that I seen, but it was really placed well, and he scored quite a bit today. So I really liked that part of his game. I thought along the boards, he had some good things happen and some bad things happen. It just wasn't as consistent, but really, like, some of those board plays were really strong, but it's that consistency. I feel like to be an NHL player, you want to be consistent. I think that might be the next part of his game, is working on consistency along the boards, and then also corralling the pass on that first touch so that it doesn't score it off his stick. So yeah, but a great day by Igor Chernyshov. Next, we have Joey Moldoni. I thought Joey had a little bit of a rough time. He made one really good cross ice. Somebody cross ice passed it to him, and he put it top cheese. That was really cool to see. But I really wasn't focused on Moldoni tonight or today. I'm sorry, but he definitely didn't do anything like spectacular, or I wasn't like overly enamored with that part of his game in terms of like hustle. I didn't see the compete like where I saw it for most of the top guys that I just mentioned. But then again, I'm probably gonna watch him a little bit more closely tomorrow. I wanted to really get a look at some of the new players. So Colin Graff, another one where I've seen him in the couple NHL games. I really wasn't focused on Colin, so I can't really give a really good assessment on him. But obviously, a young kid that probably will be in the AHL, NHL tweener kind of guy, depending on if somebody gets hurt. And I know that his compete level is very high, so I'll look for him a little bit more tomorrow. David Klee, I thought at the big start of the practice that he had was really bad. He just was not, getting the pucks. He was whenever he was passing the puck, it was in the person's feet. His shots were going high and wide most of the day, but he really had a good end of the practice where he started finding the net, on those cross crease passes, and he started really getting his passes down towards the end too. So it was kind of like a tale of two halves for him. The first half of practice, very poor. Second half, pretty good, actually. He is a big body, so he's not like as nimble and things of that nature, but you could tell that, in a game setting, he might be able to hit somebody pretty good. And I'm looking forward to that side of the game because, the skill part of his game, I don't think is fine tuned just yet. Mitchell Russell, again, just like David Klee, I thought his first part of practice was pretty bad, missing passes and not shooting the puck like I know he can. He has a good shot, but it happened at the second part of practice, just like Klee, where he started finding the net. I don't know if it was because the goalies were necessarily getting tired, but I also noticed him the second part of practice. So overall, okay. Not lastly, Gavin O'Connell. Here's somebody that I wanted to talk about. He was a very big surprise to me. Pretty good overall practice for him. I don't know who he is. I don't know, I didn't know much about him coming into the team. But for a guy that I didn't know and for somebody that did it all today, he showed a little bit of skill, a little bit of grit, a little bit of personality. So I'm really, pretty high on one day of seeing him for somebody I didn't know. And that's what you want when you're coming in here trying to make a roster or, trying to make an AHL team. That was a pretty impressive debut for him. And I'm not sure what the Sharks, thought about it. I'm sure that they're going to watch the tape and see what he did. But from my eyes, he shot the puck well. He played like when they were doing the board battles and passing, he was pretty spot on with making all the right reads. Very, very impressive by him. Donovan Villanueva Hall, I thought was, like his skating was a little like upright and didn't look like he had the burst like some other people, but I thought he also made good plays. I thought there was some bad plays that he made, like passing wasn't on point sometimes, but for the most part, he was okay. He didn't stand out like O'Connell did, though. And then Lucas Vanro Boys. He actually stood out. I thought he did pretty well today. And, it wasn't where I was super focused on him, but you do notice the body. He's a pretty big kid. And I noticed that he does have a little acceleration. And I'm just curious on, I know he was with the team last year at Dev Camp, and I'm pretty sure he got some AHL games. I can't remember. But that, I mean, I liked his game. I thought he made the right reads coming out of the, like, kind of making breakout passes and things of that nature. So nothing to write home about where, he's definitely not going to make the NHL team, but somebody that I could see an AHL guy. Next, I want to get into the defensemen for the Team White. I have Luca Cagnoni. I thought he was really disappointing. This is the player that I was like, hey, I have my eyes on you, and I want to see you come in, do really good work, and go home for the day and leave me with a good impression that, hey, can this guy be an NHL player? Some of the defensive drills that they were doing, he kept, falling with, when they were making their turns. I understand that it's, a tough drill and they're making tight turns, but he just didn't skate out of pressure too well. And coming off of that WHL season that he had was just super impressive. And I just thought a little bit more that I was going to get a little bit more. It's day one of Sharks Dev Camp. I'm not putting too much into this. It left a lot to be desired, though. That's all I'm going to say. I think he has a day two to uh, get back on the horn, so to speak, and do it again, and hopefully be better tomorrow. Michael Fisher actually surprised me with some of his skating ability. A draft pick from last year, and some of his passing was a little questionable at times coming out from the backside, but his skating ability was impressive in certain drills. So that was cool to see, but that's all I really got on a viewing of him. Axel Landon, didn't really even notice him or see him. So to be honest, I wasn't really looking at the defensemen as much as the offensive players. So, but I did notice Eric Polkamp. I thought he had a pretty good day today. Even in like kind of the 2-on-2 like scrimmage style that they had at the very end of the session. You noticed him, and he has like, he's on the smaller side. I think he's like 6 foot and below defenseman, but he looks thicker this year. He looks like he put some good time in the weight room. So it did look pretty good overall. And then I wanted to I did watch a little bit of Leo Saline Wallenius. Quieter guy, it looks like, but he did have some stumbles in some of the skating drills. And I noticed that is one of his better attributes, and it didn't stand out day one for me. But he is just getting used to the drills, and he hadn't done it, and so I'll kind of give him a pass for day one. But yeah, I didn't really like dive too deep into the 2-on-2 scrimmage. I mean, he looked fine. He was kind of just playing like defensive like posture. Braden Hayes, he had a couple good breakouts, and but that's all I really seen of him. And Nate Miskey is another one I did notice. I thought he was a big boy, and I think that he does have potential. So we'll see what he can do. Krona and Romanov were the goalies, and I thought they both look shaky in net. And I even heard Nabokov say something to Krona that, hey, we're changing your stance this off season on purpose. Like when he's going side to side, he's kind of moving up and down in terms of like his body he needs to just be fluid with his movements instead of like dropping, and like it gives open parts of the net. I heard Nabokov saying, so he needs to be like, he's too low right now. He needs to be more upright, but then shifting. It takes more of the net away, and he's bigger that way. So I thought that was an interesting take. I don't know, I'm not the biggest goalie guy, to be honest, but hearing Nabokov, that made sense. And so one thing that I did notice with the goalie is they're wearing some type of glasses. I have no idea what those are. I don't know if they're recording what they're seeing, what they're tracking. It would be interesting if I was a guy asking these questions at Sharks camp, what those glasses mean and what kind of information are they giving the goalies? That would be interesting to me. The last part of it is going to be the Team Teal. Team Teal had, Will Smith. I thought Will Smith was definitely noticeable. He kind of was like a puck hog, I would say, in terms of like when they were passing and shooting, going from left to right, making the goalies move left to right for one-timers. But Will Smith, you know, he finds the back of the net, and it's not the hardest shot, but he knows how to place it right where the goal. And what I liked about his shot was he found a hole in I think it was Kirsch or Carrier. I'm not sure which one it was now that I think about it, but low blocker. Um, he couldn't, like, he wasn't getting his blocker down far enough, and he just went there twice and just picked them apart. And I liked how he went back to it, and then finally, he went back to it a third time. He stops it, and then then he changed his game plan. But I do like that Smith is a savvy, smart player. If he finds a spot to hit the net, he's gonna go back to that against that certain goalie. So it was cool to see. I thought it was interesting and noticeable. So good job, Will Smith. Will Smith was partnered with Quentin Musty. These two, man, obviously, I thought these two were the best of Team Teal, and those two are very noticeable. Musty, I mean, his acceleration, speed, and just physicality, he reminds me a lot about Timo Meyer when he came up into the organization. Timo Meyer looked big and strong and physical right from the get-go, and that's Quentin Musty in a nutshell. And I'm interested to see, like, he's gonna be that power forward. He's gonna go, like, maybe next year he'll be on the Sharks, retrieving pucks, doing the dirty work, and then feeding the likes of Will Smith or and those people to then hopefully get the puck back and get some goals for this team. I know that I say he's like going to go into the boards and win those battles. We have to have one of those guys. I mean, these Will Smiths, the Macklin Celebrinis, they'll do it, but they're more like the skilled players that want to get into open ice and find and create. Whereas Musty is going to muck it up a little bit. He's going to hit you along the boards and steal the puck, or drive the boards and find the open people. But really, it's how to get that puck back when you don't have it, and it's that forecheck. And I think Musty brings that to his game. So I really liked Musty today. Next, one disappointing player, David Edstrom. We got him in the trade with the Tomas Hertl deal. I thought, since he had more points in the SHL than, say, Philippe Biested did, I thought David Edstrom would be like maybe a slight or a notch better than Biested, but I didn't see it from him today. I thought he was kind of, slow. It is his first camp with the Sharks, so maybe that he was just getting his acclimated, I guess, and learning the drills and things of that nature. But I thought he was slow and didn't have the shot that I thought he would, and made some wrong reads along the boards. But it's day one. I just thought more highly of him to start camp. I'm hoping to maybe, have a better reaction tomorrow with David Edstrom. Next, I have Cam Lund. I thought Cam Lund was very disappointing. He was very lackadaisical. He didn't have that determination to win the puck every time in terms of board battles and to make the correct reads coming off of the boards. He did have a few good shots, though, in terms of like the upper, like crossbar and in, on some side-to-side plays. But that's all I really got out of Cam Lund. I wish his compete was a little bit better for day one, especially for a kid that was a second-round pick and looking to try to make an impact with the Barracuda next season to hopefully in turn get a call up to the NHL at some point. But just didn't see it for day one. Again, these are all day one things that I'm seeing. It's not all end all be all. So, anyways, moving on. Ethan Cardwell, I thought he was really good. It's just Ethan Cardwell. He brings a lunch pail like mentality to work basically, and played Ethan Cardwell type game. I don't know what it means for an NHL. Is it good enough? I'm not sure. I think he's a third, fourth line guy in the NHL if he does make it. But with all these other guys kind of knocking on the door, he's going to have to keep bringing his lunch pail and getting bigger and stronger every year. And that's the only way he's going to make the NHL squad. So I know he's going to be in the Barracuda next year. He's probably going to get more minutes. He does point produce, but is he going to be more point producer than the Holtonens, Musties, and all that? I don't think so. He might be that third, fourth line guy though that gives you grit. So we'll see what happens. Day one was good. He's Ethan Cardwell. Luke Granger had. I wasn't watching him completely, but when I did notice him take a few strides. He was pretty good on those first push off strides. I can't say I liked or disliked his game. I wasn't really particularly watching him too much today. I'll get a better look at him tomorrow. I did watch a little Carson Wetch. You could tell he has a little grit to his game, like David Klee. When he gets in battles, he's battling you, and you can tell why Mike Greer liked him. He's not going to back down from hits. When Mike Ricci and Nabokov said, "Hey, let's go for more poke checks and stick checks, and not necessarily go for the big hits on day one of camp," Wetch just comes in and hits somebody right away. So I love that about him. I'm okay with that kind of hockey. Reese Laubach kind of struggled to begin his day, but really kind of came in strong later on. I don't know what this is going to mean for him. I don't know if he has any more years going back to college or not, but I would assume that he would just finish out his college career and then hopefully make a Barracuda team. Would probably be his high. And if he becomes a Shark eventually, maybe. But yeah, just a pretty an on and off day. Brandon Svoboda, didn't really see him on the rink today. I only really saw him on a 2-on-2, like the scrimmage that they had at the end. Just kind of mucked it up a little bit. Didn't really see much. And we'll kind of watch him tomorrow. And Brendan Gorman was actually a guy, a forward that kind of stood out to me. He did a lot of good things for me. I saw him getting a lot of attention from the development people and like Reach and those guys. Looked like they were working with him just like they would work with anybody else. And I thought he had a good day, just kind of like a surprise with Gavin O'Connell. He was my surprise for Team Teal. So I'm interested to see, can he have another good day tomorrow? Next, we have Sam Dickinson, San Jose Sharks defensive prospect that we just drafted in 2024, number 11 overall. I will be honest, I didn't even really look at most of these guys because I saw his skating ability. His skating is very good. Man, that guy has smooth skating for a bigger dude, and you could tell with some of the other defensemen that he kind of pulls away. And then stick checks don't, knock him off the puck. So that was really cool to see. Then you had Matthias Havlid. I thought he actually did pretty good in those stick check drills that they were doing when they were kind of like breaking out of their own zone and getting stick checked by their other former players. Thought it was cool to see how they did good. Gannon LaRock, didn't really notice. Colton Roberts, um, didn't notice. Eli Barnett, didn't notice. Greg Chapchin, didn't see, and then Buechler. So I really was only looking at Dickinson and Havlid really on this team teal, and you'd notice that they're going to be good players. So they didn't do any really like breakout drills that I was watching. Um, there was one, but it was a really easy breakout drill, and wouldn't put too much into that. Christian Kirsch and Gabriel Carrier were the goalies for Team Teal, and Kirsch actually looked good. Carrier looked good. They looked better than Krona and Romanov, who are supposed to be better. And so that was interesting to me and a little scary. So, I mean, it's just day one. We'll see what happens, obviously, moving forward. But I kind of went through, those are all the players from Team White and Team Teal today, and development camp day one. So I look forward to going tomorrow and kind of giving you guys my feedback on who does well, who needs a little bit more work in day two. But again, Sharks fans, this is just practice. Don't take too much into what I'm saying, and it's just a little fun content for you guys to maybe get to know what I saw, and that made me not seen by the public today. So really cool event, and I look forward to presenting to you guys tomorrow. So peace.